Sometime, about 10,000 years ago, humans started building permanent dwellings that morph into the modern structures that we see in cities today. It got itself into different types of architecture being adapted by several civilizations. As years have passed and skilled builders constructed such marvelous and sophisticated works of architecture that have gone in many directions, as humans made varieties of styles that were passed down into different generations. Before modern architecture rose to dominance in these early times, in the Philippines, we've been colonized by distinctive cultures that brought such magnificent structures like the one at my back. This is the parish of St. John the Baptist, located in the oldest town of Misamis Occidental, my hometown, Jimenez. This century-old Spanish Catholic church was built in 1892, and its surrounding structures were built mostly from hewn coral stone. The structure is predominantly Baroque in architecture that features a design reminiscent of the Renaissance style. The interior of the church is reportedly one of the best preserved interiors of a Roman Catholic church in Mindanao, and it also houses an antique instrument as well as a well-preserved antique materials. Aside from the Baroque style, Mindanao has a lot of architectural styles being featured throughout the island. Now, let us take you around Bukidnon, a province of the northern Mindanao region, and allow us to introduce you several structures made from different architectural styles that the island has in store.
Hi everyone, I'm Cassandra Arcatizo Biono, and in this video, I will be featuring one of the most famous church located here in front of Del Monte Golf Course, Kawayanon, San Miguel, Manolo Fortich, Bukidnon. This private church was built in the early 1960s by six-time Philippine Open champion Celestino Tugot for his wife, Obdulia. The mother of Perpetual Help Church, as it stands today, continues to spread and inspire devotees and has since become one of the pilgrimage sites of the people of northern Mindanao and its surrounding areas. Located in front of the Del Monte Golf Course at Kawayanon, San Miguel, Manolo Fortich, Bukidnon. Romanesque architects built a wide variety of different buildings, of which the most common were village churches, abbey churches, cathedrals, and castles. And according to its external and internal characteristics and features, it suggests that this church embodies Romanesque architecture. Romanesque churches characteristically incorporated with semicircular arcs for windows, doors, and arcades. Looking at the church frontal part, it is apparent that the main door has this semicircular arc. Most of the windows inside the church was also built with semicircular arcs, including the arcades in front. Its walls were also built with thick walls made of stone, and these massive supporting walls had few and comparatively small openings, which is also part of Romanesque characteristics. Another characteristic is the capital with architectural sculpture, which can be seen in front and around the church where it supports the wall or arc. The last and another regular feature of Romanesque churches, which is also apparent in Mother of Perpetual Help Church, is the octagonal tower, which is located beside the church. Towers were an important feature of Romanesque churches, and a great number of them are still standing. And that is all about the Mother of Perpetual Help Church, which lies the concept of Romanesque architecture. Let's now proceed to the next architecture.
Hello guys, today I'm at Regency Ipunan and this is the Syllog Residence. The design of this house is from the classical architecture era. The characteristics of this house that make it a classical architecture is, first, the use of columns, like this. the rectangular shaped windows. Third is the use of floral decorations. Classical architecture is also known for the use of medium pitch roof, which is also a feature in this house.
The Our Lady of Fatima Parish Church is an old church in Barangay Kamamanan. In the 1950s, the area was a mere sitio with a few households. It is 5,000 square meters long, which was donated by the heirs of the late Luis Borja and Carmen Chavez. It had a modest structure of 8 by 12 meters and was eventually expanded to 12 by 16 meters, headed by Mr. Manny Magto, with the help of Mrs. Lim of Frankton Hardware and Governor and Mrs. Rosauro Dongallo, among others. So we are now at the Our Lady of Fatima Parish Church here in Bontong, Kamamanan. I will be showing you what type of architectural design it was used and the characteristics. It features the characteristics of neoclassical architecture. Symmetry occurs when there is congruence in dimensions because of the proportions and arrangement. It gives a sense of harmony and balance. As you can see, the building has a form of symmetry as one side mirrors the other. Additionally, it shows the building having a grandeur scale as it looks huge from one's perspective. Triangular pediment is another characteristic in neoclassical architecture. It is a triangular gable that forms the terminal of the roof slope over a portico. It is located on the horizontal entablature and is commonly supported with columns. So this is the triangular pediment present here in Our Lady of Fatima Parish Church. As you can see, it is on a horizontal entablature and is supported with columns. From the outside, you can see columns. This is another characteristic of neoclassical architecture as it has a dramatic use of columns. These are commonly used to support beams or arches, which are used to support the upper portions of walls and ceilings. You can also see columns in the interiors of the church. The columns are supporting the upper portions of the walls and ceilings of the church. There are different types of our columns. For example, this type of column, this one, is a Corinthian column. So we are now at the interior of the church. As you can see, there is a column, but compared to the ones in the exterior, it isn't Corinthian. There is also another column, but compared to the other ones which are round, this one is more of squarish, as you can see.
Now for the insights of the first architecture, we now know that Romanesque architecture tend to have those thick walls in order to serve as protection for the refugees in the past. But what we can also notice from the design of this church is that it has a symmetrical architecture design. Not only that, but it also has a Gothic-ish roof design because of the high pointed buttresses seen on its rooftop, together with its color, which is somewhat on the darker side. Now for the insights for the second architecture, we now know that classical architecture tend to have columns to be commonly used as support for the structure. However, it can also be seen to use columns to create a fence in front of the house. From the front of the house, it can also be seen to use 3 columns to support its balcony. Now for the inside of the third architecture, we now know that neoclassical architecture tend to have that grandeur scale and size. But what we can also notice from the design of the church is that it has a symmetrical architectural design, and located at its highest peak at the center top of the church is the crucifix. This symbolizes God's sacrifice of His only Son so that humanity may have salvation.
In Romanesque architecture, it understands the deeper layers of its existence. However, the most important element of this architecture is the massive quality and the beauty that possesses and that will surely attract the people. The essence of the aesthetic views manifest a neoclassical architecture. It is a revivalism of classical architecture, which then became one of the prominent architectural styles. In our own perceptions, we see classical architecture as an unique attribute on structural styles in the modern times, since it incorporates geometrical rules that contributes harmony and dominates a sense of greatness of its structure.
Overall, we have featured the eye-catching architectural designs situated around the different parts of northern Mindanao.
Each of the structures presents a similitude between the sites of its origins that allows them to show their distinctive aura.